Peak Wealth Management proudly presents the Trust the Plan podcast with Nick Hopwood and Jim Pilot, where we believe by providing education and guidance, we can help you retire with peak confidence. Now, here are your certified financial planners, Nick and Jim.
Welcome everyone to the Trust the Plan podcast. I'm Nick.
And I'm Preston.
And even though Jim's not here, it's still a feel-good edition today.
Always is.
That's right. So Preston, today we're going to talk about the Schwab survey that was just released, talking about what it takes to feel wealthy. So how do you approach that question?
Well, it's different for everyone what their definition of wealth is. And I think a personal upbringing has a role to play in that and what you feel is wealthy or not. But over time, that number just keeps going up, regardless of who you are.
That's right. And so let's go through this data really quick. We have in 2021, the survey, what does it take to feel wealthy? The survey answered 1.9 million. In 22 and 23, the answer was the same in those 2 years, but it had gone up to 2.2. And now in 2024, it went all the way up to 2.5 million. But interestingly, in 25, it reversed back down to 2.3. So we have this outlier in 2024, which was higher. But basically, we've gone from 1.9 to 2.3 over the last 4 years.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And my first thought is, obviously, we had some pretty rampant inflation for a couple years there. So that probably played a role. But it's surprising to me to hear that we went pretty dramatically up in 24 and then came back down in 25.
Yeah, it's still... It's an outlier, but it's still part of this rising trend.
Yeah.
So you're right. The inflation, I think, played a big role. So 1.9 to 2.3 is about a 20% increase. And in 5 years, that's pretty much what the inflation has been. So right. It doesn't seem to be changing on a relative basis.
Yeah, that's a good point. So
when I think about feeling wealthy, I think of like private jets and big yachts, like $100 million boats. But ultimately, in my mind, when you say, what does it take to feel wealthy? I guess it would be enough money where you never have to work anymore and you never have to worry about anything and you don't have to stick to a budget and, it doesn't matter. Nothing matters money related. You're comfortable, you're secure. You don't have to worry about spending or whatnot.
Yeah, that's exactly what my mind goes to as well. Is there's like almost multiple levels of wealth in my mind, where the first level to be kind of baseline wealthy is I'm financially independent. I can do what I want. Like I really don't have to worry about finances. And then beyond that, it's how big of a yacht can I buy? How can I buy a private plane?
Right. Now, I'm going to slip in the concept of lifestyle creep here, which is one of our favorite terms here on the Trust the Plan podcast and at Peak in general. But if we don't have much by ways of needs, if we don't spend a lot, if we're comfortable, if we don't have any debt, if we're just, not living a lavish lifestyle, you can be wealthy and have, Social Security, right? You have all your needs. But that, most people need a little bit more than that. But the point is, if you do a thought experiment and you say, well, if I have all the money I'll ever need, right, it doesn't have to be a big number if you don't spend much, right?
Right, yeah. Or also, just like you mentioned, Social Security, but just guaranteed forms of income. Yeah. Like if older generations oftentimes had social and pension and they never needed their portfolio. So that portfolio is just extra wealth.
That's right. Now, there's a second question, which Schwab asks, what does it take to feel comfortable? Okay. All right. And so here's the answers there. In 2021, it was 624,000. I'm going to skip ahead here. In 2024, it was 778,000. And this year in 2025, it's 839,000. So this is kind of peculiar to me because comfortable, well, it has to be at least minimum secure, right? Security. Before you can feel safe, before you can feel comfortable, you have to feel safe and secure. And so this number is less, naturally, because comfortable implies you have, your base needs covered, but there's no yacht, right, kind of a thing. And by the way, you're not buying a yacht for 2.3 million. You can have a nice 50-foot boat, but it's not like the yacht in traditional terms.
Right.
So feeling comfortable. Okay. Well, it's hard to define this in my mind, right? Because like if we do the 4% rule off of 839,000, right? That's like 40 grand a year. Well, you add Social Security to that, maybe a pension. Okay, be comfortable, but you're not going to be taking the summer European vacation every year, right?
Right.
But you can be comfortable, right? It's kind of a base need, right?
Yeah, that one's a lot more, I guess, open for interpretation to me, because wealthy is like, people have always talked about wealth and this person's wealthy and whatever, but comfortable is like anyone at any age can have a vastly different definition. Like
very subjective.
Yeah, a young person's comfortable is I've got a nice emergency fund, my bills are covered, like I'm living good. Versus an older person's is probably I'm all set for retirement, my mortgage maybe is paid off. Like it's very subjective.
Yep. Okay, so the Schwab commentary, and so this is also subjective, right? They say the answer regarding feeling wealthy beliefs are based on aspirational needs. We keep bringing up the boat, right? Yeah, like that's aspirational. Yeah. Whereas comfortable is more tangible about your daily life today, like rooted in today's life. Yeah. And the wealthy is more like your dream, right? So that's the other addition that they added. So I don't know. It's just kind of fun to talk about. There's nothing that's gonna change the way that I do things or the way that we offer advice to clients based on this. It's just kind of a fun survey, and it's probably good to have this data though, because you can see the trends over time.
Right. Yeah, and their commentary actually brings me back to the 4 questions we ask about retirement. Just kind of drawing the comparison of wealthy is the same as have I accomplished everything I want to accomplish at work? Maybe.
Yeah. I got one more question for you. So we have these terms wealth, wealthy, and rich. What's more for you? Wealthy or rich?
For me, I'm going to say wealthy is more.
So what's the image that comes into your mind with the term rich?
Yeah, for me, I guess rich is, you can do whatever you want, take whatever vacation you want. Like you're doing good. You've got the high lifestyle.
So maybe more affluent than asset heavy?
Yeah.
More income heavy?
And wealthy is more like, FU money. I can do whatever I want.
Whoa. Mute. Okay, so rich is affluent where you have a lot of income, and wealth is maybe you have a high income, but you've saved all that money from your income, and now there's a large, a large portfolio or a large asset base.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, well, if you would like a second opinion from Preston, myself, Jim, the advisors here at Peak Wealth Management, please visit peakwm.com for a second opinion.
Peak Wealth Management thanks you for watching and listening to the Trust the Plan podcast, featuring certified financial planners Nick Hopwood and Jim Pilot. If you enjoyed our program, please subscribe and share. If you'd like to learn more about our services, please visit peakwm.com. peakwm.com today. See you next week.